12 months, we have provided $35 million of aid for life-saving programs in Israel. Didn't exist before. And that support comes from the hosts and ambassadors and supporters and volunteers that are all here today and many other forums that said, these are the life-saving missions we want to be a part of. So what does it mean to be a life-saving mission, and why do we focus on them? So we work in a very specific cross gap between what we define as life-saving missions in Israel for Israeli soldiers, as well as civilian guards, first responders, and civilians, and as well as where we see a crisis gap. And that overlap is where we operate. So what is a life-saving program? A life-saving program for us and our core thesis is that a small group of people can have an outsized impact on the modern battlefield to just increase the statistical probability that our soldiers, our brothers and sisters, everyone we love and know, has a higher chance of coming home safe, coming home alive, coming home mentally well and physically full. And that's a big statement, and we really strive for that. What could create a realm of safety for our soldiers? Well, I grew up in New York and New Jersey, and every night we went to sleep feeling relatively safe. We pressed a few buttons, and the alarm was on, and the camera systems and the sensors, and we felt good. So I said, why don't we create a Nest system for the soldiers in the field? Everyone thought I was crazy. And also, nonprofits tend not to spend money on research and development because you can't guarantee your donors the success. So I spoke to a few people who said they were comfortable with that risk appetite. We went and spent a month and we developed the first ever system, which is a mobile fort camera system. What do you get when we show up? So a $10,000 system shows up for the soldiers, relatively cheap, okay? It's in a hard case. It's the size of a carry-on suitcase. When you take the house, you go to the top floor and the roof, you put up a bunch of cameras, you end up with 360-degree view. You can see day and night. And there's an AI tracking system that identifies human movement around the fort or the house. So if someone's coming at you, you can identify it. What does that mean? It means the soldiers aren't at the windows. They're not at the doors. They're not facing the terrorists. We cover up the windows and doors, move a little in, away from the fire, okay? Away from deep danger. And then the camera system identifies potential ambushes. This system is something we created from scratch. It didn't exist ever before. There are now hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of systems in Gaza and Lebanon. And this is a key piece of the work we do in creating a safer environment for our soldiers. And the reason it works is because the soldiers are able to decompress, watch the monitors, and when something happens, go and handle their business.
Drones literally saved my life, to say it that simple. We went into Gaza, and the first mission we had to open up a door. We had to open up an entire building, and that requires going into this unknown building. That's the point of us going in. And there were signs from afar that it was compromised. There was some sort of mine, and there was potentially Hamas operatives inside. So what we did was we used one of the drones. At that point, we had some drones. But again, because we didn't have our own personal drone, we had to wait in this line and delay the mission.
Well, when the war started, the waiting period for Israeli HMOs to see a doctor went from 3 months to 6 months to 9 months, and it's now sitting between 9 and 12 months to see a new patient. And if you have trauma, if you have PTSD, if you have depressive thoughts, we all have friends and family members who have been there, whether that's PTSD, whether that's PPD, whether it's depression, suicide. You can't wait 6 to 12 months. That is a very, very dangerous wait period. And then we all know once you get your meds, they take 4 weeks to 6 months to kick in, depending on the person. And you might have to correct them. And so we believe you need care as fast as possible. So it's not access to care in the American lens where it's, because Israel has a socialized healthcare system, it's access to quick and appropriate care. So we're running the #1 telehealth platform in the country, embedded through the resilience centers up and down the country. And instead of waiting 6 to 12 months, because we're using software, various types of mental health professionals, and telehealth instead of in-person wait, we've cut a 6+ month wait period, 200, 300 days, down to less than a week. So we're at 3.5 days compared to 200 plus. As other nonprofits sprang up and started handling this problem, we moved on to the next big problem, which is how we moved from vests to helmets, and helmets to ballistic glasses, to hostage rescue equipment, to retrofitting tanks, to drones, to most recently counter drone systems to fight off the suicide drones that are flying into Israel and injuring and killing Israeli soldiers and civilians. So, in our differences, what's critical to note is we look to solve gaps. That's why we're here. And we focus on life and death situations. Mainly the bulk of it is around soldier safety. But as you've noted, our PTSD program, a few of our other programs are nationwide.